All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Once again, I am Nicodemus Kane. Today is July the 14th of 2022. I don't know why I can't hear myself in the headphones. I know I'm recording. I know I can hear myself, but I just can't hear myself in the headphones for some reason. Oh well. That sounds weird. Anyways, how's everyone doing? It's Thursday. Like I said, it's July the 14th, 2022. Had to take a day off yesterday because I just was not. I was not where I needed to be yesterday morning. Had to get focused. Today, I don't want to talk about much. I figured we'd just jump right into Isaiah 13. That's where we are now. As always, we'll go through it until I get a paragraph break, and then we will talk about it. If I don't talk about it before then, I'll try not to interrupt it as much as possible, but if there's something that I need to say, I'll say it. It's not like the Psalms. The Psalms, we used to go through them twice and be able to pick, things out, but not these. I don't know why I'm going through these as if it's the first time I've ever done them, but, it is what it is. It's not like anybody new is coming around and checking these out, I don't think. And if you are new coming around and checking these out, then there's a whole bunch more. Believe me, there's a whole bunch more. There's 150 psalm readings that I did for the past, year? Half a year? Man, it took forever reading all those. But yeah, we got through all those, and now we're going through Isaiah, and I've already said after this we might go through Jeremiah, and then we might go through Ezekiel too. I don't know, but we'll see. All right, anyways, Isaiah 13. The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amoz did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones, I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. And there is a break. So this is the burden of Babylon. This is what will happen. Now, everything before this has been talking about what will happen in the end of days. Do you think that this is what happened at the end of Babylon itself? Or is this the end of days, this an end of days prophecy as well? Maybe this is. It's interesting, the definition for Babylon is simply confusion by mixing. Confusion by mixing. So here's one for you. The Bible says God is not the author of confusion. He is the author of truth, of wisdom, of life. He is not the author of confusion. By mixing together, it creates confusion. Confusion leads to lies. Because when you have confusion, it is very easy for anyone to come in and manipulate you. Therefore, Babylon is confusion. It's confusion of lies by mixing. That's the definition. That's right there. It's amazing how the Bible works. So, lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. So, Babylon, you're in trouble. Even the Lord. They come from a far country. The whole hosts of everyone will come from a far country, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. Babylon about ready to get wiped out. Verse 6. Howl ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. Now, this is, there's some more coming here, but this ties into the, there's a line in Revelations that says, every man's heart will stop or fail. I think it's fail. For fear of what they see coming on the earth. This ties directly into that. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. Because, of course, the earth will be going through birth pangs as a woman. So, of course, they, the men that are there, shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames. Now, I looked this up yesterday because I was just kind of sitting here. Their face shall be as flames literally means they shall be gleaming, a flash, a sharp polished blade, point of, excuse me, I had a hiccup. Sharp polished blade or point of weapon, bright, glittering. Their faces shall be as flames, be amazed, be in wonder. That is, but we can take that literal too, because he is bringing fire upon the earth. Their faces shall be as flames. I don't know. That is definitely some interesting text there to try to pull together. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. This is very similar to, is it Matthew? Matthew 24:29? I thought it was in Revelations 2 where it says the sun and the moon will go away for, I think they said 3 days. A lot of other people say that it will go away for 3 days. And some people even, I don't know where they got it from, have even said when the sun goes away, don't open your doors. We'll talk about that in a second. Matthew 24:29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from the heaven, and the powers of the heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So, if you want to know when Christ is coming back, you just got to wait until the sun and the moon go away, and then you see the sign in the sky, and you'll know he's coming back. And he'll be coming in the clouds. So you just got to know. That's when it's going to happen. But somebody said it was the sun and the moon darken out for 3 days, and within those 3 days, don't leave your house. I don't know why they said this, though. They said don't open the windows, don't leave your house, don't open the doors. Be prepared, because there will be evil constantly outside those doors until Christ comes. I don't know where they got it from. I just remember there was like 3 or 4 people that said it through videos that I remember seeing, as I went on. I don't know if they're true or not, but like I said, it's one of those things that I'm going to kind of believe. When the sun and the moon go away, I'm going to lock myself down. When the sun doesn't come up anymore, I'm kind of locking myself up. It is what it is. We're going to board up all the windows. We're going to wait. And then we're going to look, after those 3 days. If it's 3 days, if it's not, I don't know. We're going to look after those 3 days, and we're going to see if we can find the sign of the coming of the Son of Man, because that's when it says. That's when you know. That's when you know. All these people keep saying, "Oh, Christ is going to come in the clouds any second now. Any second. He could come within this hour." No. There's still a lot of stuff that's got to be done first. And one of the things that has to be done is the whole world goes dark. The whole world goes dark, and I think evil is just erupted upon the world. I think it's exactly what's going to happen. I don't know. I'm just putting it out there because that's what the Bible says, and we have to go by that. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light, because the constellations, the stars, will be falling to earth. Of course, you can't have the stars falling to earth if they are great, gigantic gas balls of fire. Whenever, out there in the universe, the stars will fall to heaven, because I still contend that those are angels singing to the Lord. When you put sound through water, it creates light. So when the stars fall, that's the angels falling to earth. They're getting ready for the battle. That's what it is. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity, and I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Oof. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Ophir. 211. 11th son of Joktan. Okay, that tells me nothing. A land or city in southern Arabia in Solomon's trade route, where gold evidently was traded for goods. Oh. Characteristics of fine gold. So where were we again? I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir, which was a city known for its gold. There you go. That's why we have the Strongs. Helps us understand it. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chaste roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people. I tried to mute that as best I could. And I think you guys might have caught the front end of that sneeze. Whew. That was a sneeze out of nowhere. That's what that was. That was a sneeze out of nowhere. It's the kind of sneeze that, you know, shakes your brain up a little bit. Wow. All right. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. I already said that. And it shall be as the chaste roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people, and flee every one into his own land. They shall every man turn to his own people. So the nations shall divide back into where they're supposed to be at the end of times. Of course, again, this is after the sun and the moon are gone, and after Christ comes back, they will all flee to where they are supposed to be. Probably because they think that they're going to be, finding out that, that's what God wanted us to begin with, so we're going to flee. I do think it's interesting, though. The chaste roe. A gazelle. That's what it is. It's a gazelle, a roebuck. I think it's interesting, though. One of those things where we just got done with the whole Roe versus Wade thing. And in the Bible, at least in the King James Version, it is called a chaste roe, R-O-E. Just one of those interesting little things. No, Roe versus Wade does not come after the sun, and I'm just saying that it's just one of those interesting things that line up. That's all I'm doing is pointing it out. I'm not saying it means anything. I know that certain words have certain other words. There's probably something. There's probably something in it. Something about the definition of the court case. The names. A deer versus Wade. A stream? Wading? I don't know. Maybe there's something to it there. Maybe there's nothing. It's everything is the devil's lie. And if you look enough and decipher it enough, you can figure out what he's trying to tell you. Everything has a meaning. Everything has a meaning to it. Where were we at? We're on his own land. 15. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, and everyone that is joined unto them shall fall by the sword. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled, and their wives ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. And as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. These are some bad people. So, what is this Medes thing? Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them. Behold, I will stir up. Where's that at? Behold, I will stir up. There we go. I'm looking too far ahead. Behold, I will stir. Oh, interesting. It's a country of Central Asia. A people descended from the son of Japheth and who inhabited the territory of Media. That's just another one of those interesting little things. It means the middle land. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, the people of the middle land, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, that they shall not delight in it, for they will simply kill for the sake of killing. They will simply kill for the sake of killing. They will not do it for money. They will not do it for wealth. They might do it just for power, but they will do it because they can. Now, I'm not going to say that it has anything to do with anything, but I do find it interesting that there is a definition in here for Medes called media. And one of the biggest problems we have right now is the media. I'm just pointing that out there, man. You know, just throwing that out. Just kind of saying, hey, you know, that's a thing. So who was Media? Well, Media was a Greek goddess. It's the daughter of King Aeetes, a niece of Circe, and the granddaughter of the sun god Helios. The granddaughter of the sun god Helios. The sun god Helios being Satan himself. The granddaughter of the sun god. Oh, wow. Just kind of skipping through. I'm on the wiki because apparently I could probably find a better place to look at. Let me see. Because Wikipedia is just so trustworthy. An enchantress who helped Jason, leader of the Argonauts, to obtain the Golden Fleece from her father. Interesting story about the Golden Fleece. Some people have speculated that the Golden Fleece is the same fleece, the same sheepskin, that, or it has ties to at least, the sheepskin that God, when he sacrificed a lamb in order to clothe Adam and Eve, that was the Golden Fleece was part of that. There are stories that say that fleece survived the flood because that was what did they say? Was it Enoch? That was what Enoch used to write his book. Something like that. He wrote it on the inside of the fleece. And that's the one that made it through the flood, and people have been, or there's something else written on it. There's something else to it. There's some kind of power to it, because there's another story where Moses was given a rod, which may or may not have been a rod made from the ark. I remember somebody said that somewhere along the line. This is all stuff that you don't have to take as true. This is just stories. You know, we talk about the stories because there's truth in almost every story. But you hear there's a story about the rod that Moses used to carry, the rod that he actually used to strike down King Og. If it wasn't a sword, I don't know. Could have been a sword, because they say that the sword that Moses used was the sword that Goliath stole, and Goliath, that's the sword that David took from Goliath in order to kill Goliath. That's the same sword that killed Og. That's a story too. Yeah, there's a story, or there's some truth in every story. But there's also the story of a rod, the rod that Moses used whenever he threw it on the ground. It became a snake in front of Pharaoh and the magicians. That rod, the rod that he used to strike the rocks out in the wilderness and water flowed forth. That rod that he stuck in the ground and tied a snake around it in order to heal the Israelites of snake bites. That rod. The story is that rod came from the wood of the Ark of Noah. And that he wore a fleece. He wore a lamb's pelt. That was the lamb's pelt that came from the Ark of Noah. Something that had been passed down generation to generation to generation. I don't know how. I just know that that's what they say. So, take it as you will. It's like an everlasting fleece that doesn't go bad. Apparently, that rod and the fleece are sitting in the Ark of the Covenant with the Ten Commandments. That's how that story ends. I don't remember where I heard this from, but this is just the story. So, there's a lot of connections going on there, a lot of different things happening there. It's like the story that I've told before of it's an old Jewish fairy tale where Og was the giant before the flood, and he asked Noah to save him, and Noah said, "I don't have room for you." And there's a couple different versions of it. There's one version where Og rides the ark through the storm, and then the other one is Og says, "If I can find you a unicorn, will you save me?" And Noah says, "Yes. If you can find me a unicorn, then I will let you live." So Og goes out, finds a unicorn, rides the unicorn, the unicorn is so big. We're not talking about a horse. We're not talking about a horse with a horn coming out of its head. We're talking about, a rhinoceros, a rhinoceros with, one horn. And he says, well, it's too big to fit on the ark, so you're going to have to tie it up. So he ties it up outside of the ark, and then he rides it through the storm. Those are legends, those are stories. We don't have to take them literally. We don't have to say, well, this is true. We got to put it with the, No, it's just a story. But it's like that story. It's like Moses having this, golden fleece that somehow he got through years and years and years, which just happened to be the one that, Adam and Eve, they had, the one that God made for Adam and Eve. And somehow Moses got a hold of it. That some people have said it's interesting that there's a story in Greek mythology where Jason has to go out and find this golden fleece. Now, of course, all other God stories copy from the stories that we know in the Bible. And a lot of that has to do with the confusion, trying to manipulate you into thinking that these are the real stories because they sound like stories that you've heard before. There's so many guys out there right now that are constantly trying to tell you that, oh, well, all these stories mean this, and the Bible just copied all these stories from this, and yada, yada, yada. Yet, we have copies of the Bible that are older than most of these stories. And we don't know when exactly these stories originated from. It's interesting that just about every other religion and myth they say they have their place in certain times, and they can find writings of them, but they can't find, copies of them. They can find one source of, the Iliad, or they can find one source of, I don't know, the books of Gilgamesh, one source, maybe two if they're lucky. And yet they keep constantly finding copies of the books of the Old Testament everywhere they go. Just tons and tons and tons of copies of these books that are as old, if not older, than these other stories that they find. So there's something to that. You got to remember back in the day, they didn't have printing presses. Maybe they did. We don't know. A lot of stuff was hidden from us. But back in the day, for them to make copies of the Bible over and over and over again, or the books of the Bible, I don't want to say the Bible, the books of the Bible over and over and over again, the Old Testament, that meant something. For us to only find one or two copies of, these stories about the Greek gods or the Roman gods, or the gods of, the Sumerians, or, all of these different other gods, to only find a couple copies of those, and yet you find like 1 million copies of the Bible, that tells you something. That tells you something right there. And if it doesn't tell you something right there, then you're just part of the confusion. You're enjoying the lies, because that's what they want. They want you to enjoy the lies. I'm looking through this website with media just to see if there's anything that we can pull out of it, and there really isn't. There's nothing. There's really nothing at all. Just pictures of naked gods holding dead babies. That's truth. You look up media, and there's two pictures of naked ladies holding children. I'm not seeing anything. But again, it has that weird tie to that word. Behold, I will stir up the Medes. And one of the definitions for Medes is media. Just interesting things. I mean, it's like every single word in the Bible is pre-planned for us to look at it now in this time and say, that's a thing right there. Oh, that's a thing right there. If you can't see the connections, then I don't know. There's so many people that'll just say, "Oh, it's just a coincidence." Oh, what a coincidence! Look how much of a coincidence that is. Oh, what a coincidence! No, one of the ways that I was brought into this and had my eyes opened was that I saw that it's not just a coincidence. This has planning and meaning behind it. And for a book that is as old as the books of the Bible to have this much planning and meaning for what's happening now, whatever your timeline is, 1,000 years later, 2,000 years later, 4,000 years later, that means something. That's the way that God knew that he could get me, is because I didn't believe in coincidences anymore, because I was starting to see the patterns. So God used patterns, and he helped me. Hopefully I can help others, That's again, the whole point of me doing this is just to try to wake somebody else up the way that I was woke up. Because there's somebody out there that is thinking the same way I am. They just don't They just haven't been told, hey, maybe you ought to try this. Putting that out there. So, anyways, everything we read from that last break, it's pretty heavy. Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place. And in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the days of his fury and his fierce anger. Again, this is after the sun and the moon go out. This is after the stars fall from the sky. There will be a punishment. This will be when the Son of Man comes back in the clouds. Remember, we read that. And he shall cause everyone to come over it. Or is this before that? See, this makes you think. Where were we at? Matthew 29. Let's go ahead and read the rest of that so that we know exactly where we are here. Was it 29 or 25? It's 25. Right? 24, 29. I'm a fool. Okay. So this is chapter 24, Matthew 24. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered them, and said unto them the most important line that Christ says, I don't know how many times, at least 6, 7 times, maybe 8 times, I don't even know. The most important line. Because he says it over and over and over again. The time that is coming, the sign of my coming, take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name. Wait, let's go back 1 second. Take heed that no man deceive you. Don't let me deceive you. Don't let anybody else deceive you. Find out for yourself. Take heed that no man deceive you. There will be a great deception. Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many, which is already happening. If you want a good example of that, all you have to do is look at the Vatican, because the Pope literally means he is... What is it? He is the vicar of Christ. The vicar of Christ means the replacement of Christ. He comes in the name of Christ. The Pope. Anyhow. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Wars and rumors of wars, of course. For nation shall rise against nation. Now, we have talked about this one. I've talked about this one somewhere along the line. The word that is there is ethnos. For ethnos shall rise against ethnos. Races shall rise against races. And kingdom against kingdom. Kingdoms are basically countries. There shall be no famine, or there shall be famines. But be no famines, there shall be famines. And pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Just the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. They will deliver you up. They will deliver up the people that believe in Christ to be afflicted, and they will kill them. And anyone that believes in Christ will be hated among all the nations. Boy, we're getting there. And many shall be offended and shall betray one another and shall hate one another. Maybe that's part of the great falling away. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Now, This is where we have to start talking about, has this already happened? Somebody said there are like 30,000 denominations of Christianity. Many false prophets shall arise. Many shall come in my name. Now, has this already happened? I don't know. What's really interesting is Christ says somewhere else, all of this generation shall not die until they see the return of the Son of God. Now, is he talking about them, that generation, or is he talking about us, this generation? I don't know. But it is interesting. The timeline doesn't have to be right after the other. Remember, one day for God is 1,000 days for us. This doesn't have to be overnight. It doesn't have to be like overnight there were wars and rumors of wars, and then the next day nations rose against nation, and then the next day there were pestilences, and the next day there were famines, and the next day there were earthquakes. No, there is nothing in the Bible that says that. Moses did that. He went for day after day after day. But there is nothing in the Bible that says that the last generation is going to go through that. I don't know. All I'm doing is just speculating on that one. But it is possible. It is possible. It might even be probable. I don't know. It's a theory people have put out there, and I am exploring all different avenues. Because again, something major happened in this world. 200 years ago, maybe 1,000 years ago, something major. There were resets. There have been resets over and over and over. And we have seen, the population like die out and then magically reappear, and then die out again, then magically reappear. And people have been moved from country to country to country. Entire populations have been lost from cities. Entire cities have been lost underneath, 30, 40 feet of dirt. Things have happened on this world. We just don't know what they are. So part of that lie could be this. Devil doesn't play fair. Nobody ever said the devil had to play fair. I don't know. Many false prophets shall arise and shall deceive many. Of course, that's happening. Because iniquity abound, the love of many shall wax cold. Now again, that's possible too. Because that's what's happening now. So, if that's happening, where's all the rest of the stuff? Famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. Is that supposed to happen in pockets? Pockets of places here and there? Do you count a random earthquake in some place out in the middle of nowhere? Do you count that as one of the earthquakes of the Bible? Do you count the famines that Africa has had within the past 20-something years because of over-agriculture and bad farming practices? Do you count that as the famines of the Bible? Nation shall rise against nation, ethnos against ethnos. Do you count that as the slave? I mean, do we count this stuff? Or is this supposed to be bigger than what it is? I don't know. Do you count people in other countries that believe in God being taken out and being killed as being all the nations hate you for your namesake, or for Christ's namesake? We're not there yet. This is why I say we have some markers that we have not passed yet. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, the end is near. Christ could come any second now." No, there's still some markers we haven't hit. You shall be hated by all nations. There are still some places where they still appreciate and worship Christ. And yet, in order for us to get to many false prophets shall rise and iniquity shall abound, we have to get through you shall be hated for all nations, or be hated for my name in all nations. There's a disconnect there. We're not there yet. We have yet to see other things happen. This is a timeline. So we have to be careful when we say, oh, the rapture could come any day now. Oh, Christ is coming tomorrow. Oh, you know. No, it's not. We haven't seen all this other stuff yet. This other stuff is still going to happen. Right now, we're on the wars and rumors of wars. We're getting there, and we're getting close to the nation shall rise against nation, because there's been a lot of ethnic struggles going on. I'm going to try to make this quick, because we're on this one for a while. But he that shall endure until the end, the same shall be saved. All you got to do is make it through. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Which is interesting. Everybody's going to hate to hear it, and many false prophets shall rise, but the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world. Now that's pretty darn close. I'm pretty sure that everybody has had the chance to be able to hear about God. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, which could be a million different things, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place. Whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down and take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. Let's go back. The abomination. It is interesting. One of the, a lot of people love to talk about Obama, don't they? Barack Obama. They talk about the Obama nation. The abomination. The abomination of desolation. I can't make this stuff up. I can't make this stuff up, man. I really can't. The fact that Barack Obama is the Hebrew way of saying lightning that falls from the sky. I'm not saying he's the Antichrist, but I just think it's so, when you talk about the Bible, something that was, again, written either 1,000 years or 2,000 years, who knows? When you use these words and you put them in a context, it's either the Bible is predicting everything that's happening note for note, or the evil people of this world are following the Bible as a guidelines to whatever. I've even speculated that they are using it to make us think that the end is coming, and the end is not coming. They're just making us think that so that they can control us easier. I don't know. It's weird stuff, man. It's weird stuff. Anyways, when that time comes, when ye therefore shall see, I mean, we're supposed to see it. It's supposed to be there. It's supposed to be after the earthquakes, after the false prophets, after the love grows cold, after all this other stuff, after those that make it to the end, the post-apocalyptic world, the Mad Max scenario, when all those have made it to the end, and then the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in the end, there will be an abomination of desolation. Stand in the holy place. Have we been there? Are we there? I don't know. Man. People want to talk about one thing, they want to talk about another thing, but they have to go back and see that there are 5 other things need to happen. It's a guideline. It's a timeline of events. Where's the rest of the stuff at? You can't just take little pockets of fighting in some little tiny country off in the middle of nowhere and say, oh, there it is, wars and rumors of wars. This is going to be a worldwide thing. This is going to be big stuff. And to say that it's all these little tiny things that are happening, and then you see this little tiny thing that happens here, but you have to remember there is still he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved, and the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached. I don't even know, man. So anyways, go through it. Neither let him take it in. Woe to him and her child. This is all still future stuff. But pray that your flight be not in the winter. And everybody started getting crazy because they were talking about the winter of death. Even I started thinking, maybe we should worry about the winters, because when it's going to happen in the winter, I don't know. For then shall be great tribulation, since as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened. Now again, this is another one of those people say, oh look, the days are shortened. Yes, I understand. Time is speeding up very quickly. It feels like we are going faster and faster. It feels like the days are being shortened. Could that also be something with the Wi-Fi, with the signals? Maybe they're thinking. I've already said before, when I leave the Wi-Fi on overnight, we have timers on our Wi-Fi. It turns off at 11 o'clock. It turns back on at 5 o'clock. That when I leave the Wi-Fi on overnight on the weekends, whenever I kind of stay up a little bit later just to, watch some TV or something, I've noticed that I don't feel like I slept. It's like I will wake up and it feels like I didn't get any sleep at all. Is that something to it? I don't know. I'm just pointing that out. There's just stuff there. And if any man shall say, lo, here's Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets. Even though the gospel shall be preached everywhere, yet again there shall be false prophets that fall everywhere. Behold, I have told you before, be not deceived. Do not let any man deceive you. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. And wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles, which just happens to be the bird that every nation has used, not just America, every nation has used upon their currency, their satanic currency, part of the beast system. The beast system will be about money. But it's been on the back of the coins of the Romans. It's been on the back of the coins of the Greeks. It's been on the back of the coins of America. The eagle. I'm just saying. There will the eagles be gathered together. Now, this is what we said before. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, this is after the tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. Then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So again, the world is darkened. The world is darkened. And this is after the tribulation. The great tribulation. Well, just tribulation. It doesn't say great tribulation, but it says tribulation. This is after all this is done. After it all falls apart, immediately after that tribulation, which is when the abomination of desolation comes, they flee to the households. They don't take any of their stuff with them. For then shall be great tribulation. Immediately after the tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall fall from heaven. Then he will come, Christ will come in the clouds. And he shall send angels with a great trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds. And then there's a parable of the fig tree. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Is it the generation he's talking about, or is it, I don't know. But it also says, as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Now again, we're not anywhere near the days of Noah. We're in the days of Sodom and Gomorrah right now, but we're not in the days of Noah. For in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came, and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So we'll never know. Only God knows. Then shall two be in the field, and one taken, and the other one, this is, again, possibly talking about the rapture. Watch therefore, for ye know not know not what hour your Lord doth come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in which to watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have had suffered his house to be broken up. Basically, keep your eyes open. I could go through all this stuff, guys. I really could, but we're already over time anyways. Shall cut him asunder and appoint him, yeah. And then it goes on about the 10 virgins, the ones that were ready and the ones that weren't ready. And then there's another one about knowing where to put your faith. But there's a lot there. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot going on there. And there's so many people that want to say all this stuff. And yes, a lot of this stuff looks like it's happening. A lot of the roars and rumors of wars and things look like they're falling apart, and things look like it's getting terrible and all this stuff. And there's so many people right now that are going, Christ could come back any day. He could come back tomorrow. He could come back in 5 minutes. You just don't know. Yeah, we don't know. The Bible tells us how to know. There's going to be all of this stuff. There's going to be an abomination of desolation. There's going to be a great fleeing into the mountains. Oh, there's also going to be the gospel of the kingdom being preached everywhere. There's going to be a great tribulation, earthquakes and all that fun stuff, false prophets, lightning that comes out of the east, shineth to the west. And then immediately after that tribulation, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, which goes back to our Isaiah, which says that for the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their lights. But then also, before God comes back, before Christ comes back, there is this, I will gather everyone up from all the places, and everyone shall be dashed to pieces. He will stir up the Medes against them, that shall not regard silver and gold. They will not care, but they will delight in killing. Their bows shall dash the young men, they shall not spare the children, they shall not care. Is that before or after Christ comes back? I don't know. We didn't see it. You got to remember, this is not a day-to-day thing. This could be happening over time. I don't know. I'm not gonna speculate when it is or isn't. I'm not the best prophecy guy, but I'm going to tell you this much right now. The people that tell you that things are falling apart, yes, they are. Are they falling apart so bad that Christ is going to come back tomorrow? We still need to see other things. In order for Christ to come back tomorrow, I got to see the sun and the moon go away. I got to see the stars fall from the heavens. I have to see the earth moved out of its place. I have to see, what was the other one? Where's it at? I lost it now. There's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. Now, again, there are a lot of things that you can point at and say, that's that right there. We don't know. And it's not perfect, It's not complete. So I'm just going to keep as much faith as possible, and I'm going to try to keep doing what God wants me to do, and I am going to try to warn others, because there is something that's going to come. Whether it comes in this generation or not, I don't know. Maybe not. I might grow up to be an old man, locked in some prison cell somewhere because I don't believe the way that they do. Probably. I don't know. I'm just saying, don't start falling into the whole thing of, it's all going to fall apart tomorrow. No, I think they're making it look like that so that it will trick a lot of people into thinking that it's going to fall apart tomorrow, when it's really not. It's not going to fall apart tomorrow. They're just going to make you think it is. And then you're going to be tricked into following along with what they have. If they can trick you into thinking that it's the end of the world, and then it turns out that it's not, you're going to start thinking that the Bible isn't real, because the Bible did not prophesy that. Devil doesn't play fair. Am I even still recording? I haven't even looked at my yes, we're still recording. We're still an hour in. Okay. Phew, man. All right, let's do this. Verse 19. We're back to Isaiah 13:19. In Babylon, this is after they will not spare the children. They will not do anything else. In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. So Babylon, you're going to get crushed like Sodom and Gomorrah. It's interesting that we talk about the time now being as Sodom and Gomorrah, and then we're talking about Babylon will not be spared as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. So, is this after everything? Is this after all the stuff? Or was there a second time when the sun and the moon and everything were darkened? That's an interesting thing to ask, man. Because he's talking about nobody dwelling there for generation to generation, but this is the end of the world. Why does it matter? So here's some interesting stuff going on there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures. And owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. Satyrs. Of course, we know satyrs are the goats, the pan goats, and satyrs. Hairy goats. Oh, this is just straight talking about goats. Satyr may refer to a demon-possessed goat like the swine of Gadara. Really? So it could be goats. Let's just say goats. But wild beasts of the desert, which is a goat, shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there. Owls. It has to specifically say owls. Actually, what's interesting? What's interesting? It could be an owl. It could very well be an owl. But the Strong's, it's an unclean bird. There's two Strongs here. That's weird. One is 1323. It is a daughter, an adopted daughter. Then there's a second one, 3284, which is an unclean bird. An owl, ostrich, literally translates as daughters of the owl. Huh. So that's why they go together, because it's daughters of the owl. That's weird. It's a feminine now, so it's weird stuff. And owls. Bad birds. Unclean birds. Unclean birds? Wait a minute. We're talking about the end of the world. I thought Christ made all birds clean. What happened there? Or I thought he made all animals clean. Clean to eat. You can eat whatever you want. All animals are now clean, according to Christ. But this is an unclean bird? What? And, if anybody wants to get on to me about that, go read Revelations again, where it talks about all manners of unclean beasts in the land of Babylon. They're, again, if John, after Christ died, is having a dream of the future where angels are talking about unclean beasts, Christ didn't make all animals clean. I'm sorry. You have to read these things. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. Goats, because goats dance. Believe it or not, when they're playing, goats dance. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons, in their pleasant places, in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. And dragons, what is dragons? Serpents. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses. Also desolate places. In their desolate places, and dragons, serpents, sea or river monsters, in their pleasant places, in their pleasant palaces, not places, palaces, in their pleasant temples, pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So, if we keep reading, and if we find that after that, it says something about the Son of Man comes, or the Son of God, whatever, comes after this. Maybe there's a stretch between the time that the sun is darkened and Christ comes in the clouds. The sun, the sign that you're supposed to look for, appears in the heavens. Maybe there's a stretch of time where all this completely terrible stuff happens. And there's just nobody there. All the houses are empty. Everything is empty. There are animals dwelling in the houses, which is interesting when you talk about the mud floods and what happened after that, where you had massive areas of buildings that were just sitting there doing nothing until other men moved in to move into them. I'm throwing that out there because I don't know. Boy, we were on this one for a while, weren't they? Woo! Sometimes you get it, man. Sometimes you just kind of you got to get on that, if it hits you and you got to go, you got to go through it piece by piece and try to figure it all out. This is whenever they say here a little, there a little, this ties to this, ties to that, and you have to know how it ties together, and then you have to try to put the pieces together. Because again, you're not going to get it all in one shot. Because if you could get it all in one shot, then anybody else could get it all in one shot, and they could very easily manipulate you or manipulate the truth. They're already doing it anyways, but it has to be hidden so that people can find it out. You have to ask the Father to help you. You have to ask God to help you understand it. That was a lot to unpack. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. I could be wrong. I'll be the first one to admit when I'm wrong. But if we're supposed to read the Bible and be able to interpret it using the Bible itself, I don't want to say I'm wrong. I'm just wanting to say that it just, there are other places that we have not read yet that will fill in the pieces, I'm sure. You have to take it all together. You should be taking notes so that you can, when you come back around to another place, you can stop and say, oh, well, this is this right here. This is that place that fills in that gap. You have to ask yourself the question, if the time right before the Son of God comes back, if right before that time the stars fall from the heavens, they lose all the light, the moon goes out, the sun goes out, if the whole world is cast into darkness right before the Son of Man comes out, what's all this other stuff? Is there a time between those where shit gets real? And does that tie in with the stories that I have heard and I've read, where they say there will be at least 3 days of darkness before Son of Man comes back? And it makes sense to a point, where all of these evil people, the sun goes out, these people are going to get evil. They're going to start taking it out on other people. They're going to come out and they're going to hurt and maim and destroy everything. The darkness is going to bring out the demons. Maybe that's part of the reason of the story, where they say when the lights go out, stay in your house, close your doors, lock your doors. Don't look outside. Don't look out the window. Don't do anything. Maybe those are all the demons that are being... I don't know. That's a heck of a conversation to have. Wow. All right. So I'm going to stop there. Man, that's a heck of a thing. Again, that's just putting the pieces together and being able to come as far as I've come. Especially on this journey, man, to be able to come as far as I've come on this journey, and to be able to do this, God is amazing. He is absolutely amazing. I never in a million years would have thought that I could have come to this point. But here I am. And all I could do is praise him and thank him for allowing me that opportunity. Even again, if I am not a perfect creature and I was a terrible man before and I'm a bad man now. But wow. Just wow. All right. I shall talk to y'all later. God bless every single one of you. Take care of yourselves. I'm going to go to work. And I shall talk to you all tomorrow, pending nothing else happens. All right? I shall talk to you later. Take care of yourselves.